Hi guys, so I hope you've heard Nigel Farage and Zia Yusuf's plans for immigration if they come into power. First being scrapping of ILR and replacing it with 7-year visas in which nobody can get indefinite leave to remain here. Then raising the minimum salary to £60,000 in order to qualify for a work permit. Also to make getting citizenship virtually impossible. Then also that to stop any benefits for people who are foreign born. And remember, UK citizens can be foreign born. The prime example of that is an ex-Prime Minister called Boris Johnson, who's born in New York, but actually became Prime Minister of Britain. To stop their benefits. This is despite the fact that 83% of those claiming universal credit were born in the UK.
And when you realise that most that come are very low skilled and on very low wages, you start to get a very, very different picture. In fact, you start to get a massive benefits bill. So I want to be absolutely clear at the outset that we are here to make massive future cuts to welfare spending. I promised we'd announce this or something like this at our conference a few weeks ago. We are the party that will make massive cuts to welfare spending. And if we don't, well, what is coming down the track will best part bankrupt us, although some might say we're almost there, looking at the 30-year gilt yields this morning. Under a reform government, welfare will be for UK citizens only. It will not be for foreign-born nationals. Indeed, we'll become like most normal countries in the world. The anticipated cost of the 800,000 plus who will qualify for indefinite leave to remain over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, the anticipated cost of this group of people is a staggering £230 billion. It is absolutely an eye-watering sum of money. We will not only say that these people do not qualify for indefinite leave to remain, we will abolish indefinite leave to remain as a category in this country.
So let's take a sort of quick deep dive into this. Can this work? Well, actually, if you stop giving people ILR, then they can go to countries where they will get ILR and probably a better salary prospect, such as Australia and Canada. Not even these countries have stopped indefinite leave to remain. If you're going to revert to a Dubai-style system where you're saying we're not going to give anyone any permanent residency to stay here, then you have to offer Dubai-style wages. Have you asked the businesses if they're willing to offer £60,000? Let me give you an example. A person who studies to be a doctor in the UK, being born here, they start them off at 32.5 grand, £32,500. We know that because they've been on strike recently, wanting an increase. At 60,000, is the NHS going to pay it? Nope. Care workers don't get paid 60,000, they get paid 25,000. In fact, they've already stopped from coming from abroad and it's having an effect on the care system. So what you're going to get is you're going to get lots of vacancies very quickly and people are not coming here and choosing other countries to go to. As a result, you're going to have to rely on the British people to fill these jobs. Are the British people skilled enough? Some are, but a lot of them aren't, because if they were, then we wouldn't need immigrants in the first place. We wouldn't need them to come here and fill all the jobs. Forget the skilled jobs. Look at the Uber drivers around you. Look at the people who work in the hospitality industry, bars, restaurants, the cleaners in any major city in the buildings, the security guards. These are all immigrants. If the British people could fill these jobs, surely they would have filled them by now, right? They wouldn't be vacant for the last, 10, 20, 30 years. It doesn't make any sense. Then, universal credit claimants. So people who are born abroad won't be allowed to claim any benefits. That includes people's pensions. That includes the EU people who have come here under the EU settlement scheme. They're all born abroad and their dependents were too. That includes Boris, although he doesn't need it. What a coincidence. And it might even include Nigel Farage's various partners who have coincidentally all been European. So this is, first of all, very radical. Secondly, is it workable? Possibly not, because this will collapse the economy and tank it. The figures that Nigel Farage has quoted by saying that he is going to save by doing all of this, they were actually debunked the very next day by the organisation that quoted them and said, well, hold on, don't rely on our figures. Can we rely on this guy? He's the one who said Brexit would mean taking back our borders and taking control of them. Did it reduce immigration? No, it increased it. All we ended up doing was replacing Europeans with people from foreign other countries to come and work here. The vacancies were still there, and we ended up upsetting our neighbours. So, and cancelling all the agreements where we could return failed asylum seekers to. Secondly, this is a guy, when Liz Truss's mini budget came out, he said it was a brilliant idea. In fact, what we all know happened was it tanked the economy, and the UK still hasn't recovered from that properly. So can you trust this guy? Probably not, from what his experience is. Does he say the right things that people want to hear? Definitely. Because he wants to win the election. And he doesn't care if he can deliver or not. We know that because he's failed before to deliver. So please identify the dog whistling in this. Please realise that his plans are not workable. What happens is people get excited and might vote for him. And then 2 months down the line, he'll just turn around and say, well, no, sorry, we can't deliver it. But he'll have 5 years then in control. Please be careful of what you're listening to. Yeah, you wouldn't believe somebody who's selling you a Mini to say, actually, it's a roller, it's a Rolls Royce. So why are you believing things that can't be delivered? And when you take the plan apart or his suggestions apart, they're actually, there's not much substance in them. They're not workable. The numbers don't add up. Yeah, you're actually going to have loads of businesses collapsing. You're going to have the NHS collapsing. And have you noticed one thing? He didn't say in any of that yesterday that he was going to reinvest that money onto the roads. He didn't say he was going to reinvest it in the NHS. He didn't say anything about helping our elderly out. He didn't mention anything about helping the veterans. They claim, help the homeless, we've got to run up for our own. Why didn't you say it yesterday, that you're going to give the money there? He didn't say anything about disabled children. Surely, if you're going to help the most vulnerable in society, you're going to help the elderly and the disabled children, right? He didn't say anything about where the money goes. What's going to happen is the NHS is going to collapse, and we already know that Farage favours an American-style system where you'll have to get private insurance, and he'll plan to sell the NHS off to the USA. That's already, plans are there. He's already stated support for that. So he's going properly Trump style, which I don't think is a good thing. And what you need to do is identify the division. The whole basis of Nigel Farage, and Trump is the same as well, it's a copy from the same playbook, is to make the poor hate each other. They want to create culture wars to avoid a class war. That's essentially what it is. Once the poor are at each other's throats, then the rich can carry on siphoning off what they want. If he really wants to generate funds, why isn't he talking about taxing rich businesses and making them pay there? Why isn't he talking about his friends who've got businesses offshore and are living in tax-free countries? His party members and fellow MPs like Richard Tice, who are now living in Dubai just because they don't want to pay tax here. So why don't we recognise this and realise, smell the coffee or something else less attractive, and realise that this person for what he is, con men in suits who are going to tell the public what they might want to hear, and the public are so frustrated with their life, and this guy's offering you a solution. They first create the problems, these people, and then come along acting to be the saviour. Please understand the game at play. It's divide and rule. It's been an old game, and Nigel Farage does play it well.